You're listening to Question Reality. Question Reality with Priscilla Leona.
Hi! Welcome to Question Reality, or the Question Reality Radio Show. I'm Priscilla Leona, and I'm producer and host of this show. And we are coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. And for over 21 years, we have been on the air trying to help you with questions that you have, tips, advice, and resource information on what it takes to make a career in the entertainment industry. So we bring people on the show that give entertainment industry career advice, and we have such a diverse range of professionals that come on the show, and they work in front of and also behind the camera. So we'll always have somebody on there, hopefully from the executive producer said I had a big water bubble over top my lip. I had just taken some water on my nose. I got water on my nose. Where? I don't have a water bubble on my nose. That's a shadow. No. Things that happen on live TV, radio, and video, right? Okay. Well, all right, let's get back to it. Okay, so for 21 years, we've had all sorts of people come on, people who work in front of and behind the camera with various professions. And some of our guests have included Oscar nominees. We have Emmy Award winners, Grammy Award winners, Tony Award winners. We have reality TV stars, as well as levels of professionals that are seasoned. They're like seasoned, up and coming, working their way to the red carpet professionals. And if you missed any of our episodes, because we have all sorts of careers that if you are thinking of one and then you say, maybe I'd like to do this, we have it all organized perfectly on our sites. So if you missed any of the episodes, you can visit these sites at YouTube, Priscilla Leona, at Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and X, all Priscilla Leona. One of the things, what do I teach you each week? Please make it consistent when you're creating your brand, when you are about to start your empire. You want to make sure that people can find you. We have 5 minute attention span, right? So make sure you keep it consistent. If people have to find you, they'll look maybe 5-10 seconds and then they're like, forget about it. This person isn't professional. I'm not even going to bother trying to find them. So keep it consistent. So again, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and X, at Priscilla Leona, my name, because you want to take the name with you. You never know. You might write a novel. You might do autobiography, and it's your name. You never know. Just keep it consistent. Keep it tight, people. Tight. Now, the website of our show is questionrealityradioshow.com. Common sense. questionrealityradioshow.com, and also Facebook, Question Reality Radio Show. So again, choose a name, choose your brand name, choose your product name. Just keep it very, very consistent. Now, we ask you for an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini favor. What is it? If you watch my show every week, you know. If you enjoyed the guests today, which I'm sure you will, please consider subscribing to their sites and at least give them a little thumb up. And we'll provide their social media information during the show and then again after the show. And this applies to our show, Question Reality, as well. If you wouldn't mind, if you like our entertainment industry career show and you feel that you want to support what we're trying to do, which is to provide entertainment career advice, please go to our sites. Again, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and X at Priscilla Leona. And there's an S, Priscilla. A lot of people forget my S. Noise needed no N. The website, questionrealityradioshow.com, and Facebook, Question Reality Radio Show. And please subscribe to our sites. Now, what happens is we have people that say, hey, Priscilla, we have, oh, is that Alan Greenstein? Yes, my first time here. Thank you, Alan Greenstein. Hopefully you'll visit us again. Hi there, honey bun. So if you like our show and you subscribe, exciting. Well, you're excited. It's exciting to see your name up there. Hopefully you can comment throughout the show when Crystal comes on. This is a long intro, Alan, but hopefully we're good through it. I'm almost done, honey. All right, so again, we have people that look and say, hey, Priscilla, for example, Alan Greenstein just subscribed to your channels. And I say, well, God darn it. Well, we have to reciprocate. So that's what we will do. And every little thumb helps. Every little follow helps. We live in a world of thumbs, people. We just have to deal with it. If you would like to appear on our show, to promote your projects, to showcase any of your products or your talents, or if you know anyone, please go to our website, questionrealityradioshow.com. Go to the contact link. Or you can email me directly at priscillaleona@yahoo.com. Guess what? We're finished. The intro. Hot diggity dog. Now we're on to the meat and potatoes of the show. Today, our guest her name is Crystal Starnes. And I was looking. I got distracted from the colors. I'm attracted to the red and black colors. Her name is Crystal Starnes. She's an actress, a survivor, a founder of Voice for Victims. She is Voice for Victims LLC. It's very important to get that in there. She's a podcaster, a radio and TV producer, a host, and very exciting for me, a retired probation officer, because I want to ask questions. You know, I love my reality TV shows. I watch Love After Lockup, 60 Days In. If it's a reality show where somebody has been behind bars, I want to know about it, or if they're getting in trouble. So I have lots of questions for her about that occupation. Also, when I posted, a lot of people said, oh, I want to be a probation officer. Can you ask her how you do it? So we're going to ask her. Now, go to her website, crystalstarnes.com. That's CrystalStarnes.com. Also, voiceforvictimspodcast.com. Voice for Victims Podcast. Oh, my Lord. I'm choking to death here. I need to take another drink and get a water bubble on my nose. Her social media sites. Now, let's see if Crystal kept it consistent. Let's see. Facebook, Crystal Starnes 2021. Well, I think if you type Crystal Starnes, I think she'll come up. Instagram, at the Crystal Starnes Show. YouTube, at the Crystal Starnes Show. Yes. Spotify. I don't go to Spotify, but I guess you know how to get there. And her name is Crystal Starnes Show. Yes, girlfriend kept it consistent. She has pleased Mama Question Reality today. I love it. And now, hold on a minute. I'm turning the page. Look at her pictures while I turn my page. Oh, let's go into the brief bio. All right. Let's see what's happening here. Crystal Starnes is the founder of Voice for Victims LLC, which she created for people who feel they don't have a voice and want to be able to tell their story. So Voice for Victims LLC is trying really hard to spread awareness in the community, and they hope that victims and survivors will not be afraid anymore. That's like the goal. So they have lots of tools and tips, advice, and resource information, I would imagine, on how to do that. So again, go to the website, crystalstarnes.com or voiceforvictimspodcast.com. And and you can learn more about her company. Now, very important. I was so taken aback when I watched the video clip of Crystal being interviewed. And let me just tell you, I wanted to play that video first so that you can really get a feel of her story and the background and understand where she's coming from. So the insider exclusive, which is called Justice in America Network TV show, they had an insider exclusive where they went behind the headlines for Justice in America, the Crystal Starnes story. And they did it to examine how Ed Olds of the Olds George law firm success. Now, this is all public. I'm not outing anybody. This has all been documented on the news, on TV, you name it. So all this information comes right from the press. All right. So it's been done. All right. So they examine how Ed Olds of the Olds George law firm successfully sued and settled a sexual harassment and discrimination lawsuit for his client, Crystal Starnes, who was a former retired Butler County, PA, adult probation officer, against Thomas J., and I believe his last name is pronounced Dewar or Dorr. Not sure. We'll find out. And he was the president judge on the Butler County Court of Common Pleas in Pennsylvania and the Court of Common Pleas of Butler County. So Crystal, again, a former highly respected adult probation officer for Butler County, Pennsylvania, she challenged at really great risk to herself and the integrity and the conduct, actually, of the Butler County's president judge for sexual harassment, discrimination, and retaliation, and won a well-deserved settlement when she exposed the sordid details. Woo! Who doesn't love sordid details better than me? I don't know. There might be somebody. But she exposed the sordid details of the judge in front page news in a wickedly compelling Machiavellian, one of my favorite words, Machiavellian, insider exclusive Justice in America Network TV specials. And she was, the court system agreed to pay Crystal Starnes $200,000 to settle the lawsuit. So they were probably running scared. I would have held out for a couple million, but she's a nice girl. So she probably said, I just want to be over with it. I don't care about the money. Just put it in my purse and let me move on. Now, I don't know. We'll find out why. So what I want to do first before Crystal comes on is play the interview so that you can hear the story. It's only a little over 3 minutes, so it's not that long, but I want you to get an idea. So this is, I don't know what the website, I should have written this down. I had the website written down. I don't know what that, no, wait a minute. You know what? I'm better than I think I am. I know I got it somewhere. I knew it. Okay, so the news site interview video footage is from the website WTAE.com. WTAE.com. I don't know what that stands for, but you can go there, and I imagine they have a search button that you can type her name and find it. But instead of that, why don't we watch it right now? And when we come back, we'll have Crystal Starnes live, and we will talk about what we just saw. Okay? So without further ado, let's watch the interview. Any second.
Judge Thomas, Well, about the only thing Crystal Starnes and Judge Thomas Durr agree on is that they had sex multiple times at his courthouse chambers. Now, earlier this year, the state court system agreed to pay Starnes $200,000 to settle a lawsuit she had filed against the judge and the courts. As part of the settlement, the judge and the courts admit to no wrongdoing.
I actually met him at a Christmas party in 2004.
Crystal Starnes says she was looking for a probation officer job in Butler County when she first met Judge Thomas Durr. 2 months later, on a Friday evening, Starnes met Durr at his courthouse chambers. Durr declined to be interviewed. In court papers, he admitted to having sex with Starnes that night, but denies the encounter was unwelcome or anything other than voluntary. He also denied offering to help her get a job, something she alleged in her lawsuit but was never proven. Starnes eventually did land a job as a Butler County probation officer and alleges having regular sex with Judge Durr in his chambers, though the judge stated in court papers the sexual encounters only happened twice. In December 2006, Durr says he told Starnes he would have no further personal contact with her, but Starnes says the relationship continued until 2010. She kept working in his court even after the relationship ended.
It was just very uncomfortable.
It got more uncomfortable after her lawsuit against Durr and the court system became public. Do you feel people are judging you?
Yes, I do.
In what way?
I just feel that people, maybe they just feel like it was my fault, even though it wasn't my fault, but they, want to blame me.
As the case dragged on, it began to impact her health.
I suffer now from PTSD and severe anxiety. I have trouble sleeping. I have gastro issues. It's all as a result of psychological harm that resulted in physical harm.
Starnes went on medical leave and ultimately resigned from her job in 2019. Earlier this year, the state court system agreed to pay Starnes $200,000 to settle the lawsuit. Following its own investigation, the State Judicial Conduct Board issued a private letter of counsel to Durr. The board told Starnes it is the most serious form of private disposition short of filing formal charges and embodies the board's official expression of concern and disapproval. Durr is still on the bench and he remains president judge. His attorney tells Action News Investigates there is nothing pending against Judge Durr anywhere and it's over. Starnes says she agreed to settle the case because she worried about the impact on her family.
I was happy for it to be over because let's face it, it's caused me a lot of stress, my family's stress. It's taken time away from my children.
She hopes her case inspires others.
They need to realize that not to have fear like I did for years. You can get your life back, you can get control back.
Earlier this year, Judge Durr announced that he would not seek re-election and that he would retire from the bench at the end of this year. Reporting live, Paul Van Osveld, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
Wow! There we go. There we go. Albert, can you put me on the other side? I like the guest to be on the left side. There we go. Wow, Crystal! Well, first of all, girl, it always starts at the Christmas parties. I warned people before the Christmas parties. I'm like, don't drink before the Christmas party because you never know what's going to happen. You're going to meet somebody and then it's going to end up in a whole situation. Those darn Christmas parties. Well, first of all, I got to tell you, I am so proud of you. I have never actually met someone that oh, Alan's back. Alan, do you know Alan Greenstein?
There, yeah.
Oh, okay. He's like, all right, we gotta give shout outs to people who take time to write us. Okay. So first of all, I'm so proud of you because I've of course read so many stories with the hashtag MeToo movement, but I've never met anyone that's gone through a sexual harassment situation. And I only saw that footage, but I didn't hear things that people might have questions to. For example, okay, so you met him at a Christmas party, but had you already started working in the court system first?
Yeah, I was working in a neighboring county.
prior to
As
that.
a probation officer.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously you go to these parties, everybody knows everyone, and there's just, okay. So you met him at the party. Obviously there had to be some sort of an attraction. You don't do it for your health. You're like, hey, he's hot. Let me jump on the copier, right? I've done it myself. It's all right. So you met him, there was an attraction, so you guys started seeing each other. Now, if you worked in a different location, did you end up in his particular location to work via a transfer, or how did it come to be that you ended up working in his court justice system?
When I met him at the Christmas party, there wasn't an attraction on my end at the time. At the time, I just was talking to him about.
It was the damn tequila. It was the blame it on the vodka. That's what I do. Yes.
But it was basically I got introduced to him, and I talked with him, and I told him what I did for a living, and that my goal was to work in Butler County because that's where I'm from. And, he had said that he may have some openings coming up in the future, and, that, he'd be in contact with me, and he wanted my phone number. So I gave it to him. And that's how that basically was left at that. And there was nothing else happened that night. So, but then he started pursuing me for 2 months, like calling me. And then he invited me in to do an interview at the courthouse. And it was late at night. And it's all in the lawsuit, what happened, but yeah, and he ended up, sexually assaulting me that night in the courthourse. So
right then on the first night, and then he called
when he said he was going to do an interview. So
this is what I tell actors, Crystal. Crystal, I tell actors a lot of times, it doesn't happen so much anymore because of people like you getting out there and the whole hashtag MeToo movement. But do you know, I used to run into actresses who'd say, oh, you know what? Oh, I have to go audition for this director at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, what? You don't go on any auditions at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. But they were new. They came out here. They didn't know any better. And they would go. Next thing you know, I had to hear the stories that I would say to them, please don't go to any auditions if someone's asking you to go at night. So that's a tip. But, you don't think that a judge, I mean, I don't know, maybe some people do, but if I'm like you, I wouldn't think that you wouldn't be thinking a judge is going to be like trying to hump your leg when he's calling you for a job. I mean, especially, when did this happen? What year?
It was back in, I think 2005.
Oh, 2005. So that was before the whole hashtag MeToo. So he thought he was going to get away with it because I think that whole hashtag MeToo or the whole campaign started, I'm not even sure the year, but I think it was like 15, 16.
It started in 2000, I believe 2017. It actually happened. What's really interesting is I filed my lawsuit in 2017. I filed it like a week before the Harvey Weinstein victims came out with the Me Too movement. My case was kind of similar to theirs to a point, but I mean, they were actors and I was a probation officer, but yeah, mine got filed. And then like a week later, I was watching the news and there's these people and I'm like, reading about their stories and I'm watching, the news and I'm like, oh my gosh, their stories are similar to mine. Like, I just couldn't believe what was happening. It was just like weird. It was like all of us came out, around the same time. And
wow,
it's weird how the universe works. And, I didn't even know these people,
Okay. So I'm sorry. So, wow, I didn't know you filed it in 2017. Okay. Yeah. So 2005 it happened. So he called you in. So he called you in for this interview and did he even like offer you a job or did he just go straight for like trying to grab your little nuggets and bits and pieces?
He showed me around the courtroom and then his chambers and everything. And then one thing, led to another. He just
started. It's all in the lawsuit. I just don't.
Did you feel pressure from him to reciprocate the affection that he was trying to show you? Because you said you weren't attracted to him, so I imagine you didn't want to, reciprocate. So you, did you tell him, hey, you know what, this is not cool, I'm out of here? And did he?
I did say no, and I was very scared because I was by myself. And that day, I actually had an endoscopy done that morning, and I had anesthesia in me, and he had called me that day. And I mean, I wasn't even in the right state of mind. I probably should have never drove in there. I don't know. It's just,
it's not that you shouldn't, because you went into this with innocent intentions.
Right.
You didn't do anything wrong. You thought it was a job. I mean, that's what he said. If he says this is for a job, then this is what you're thinking.
Right.
I mean, you went into it with innocent intentions.
There, and that's when I talked with him at the Christmas party. I was seeking to, become a PO there because, I mean, obviously I'm from Butler County, and, I wanted to always work there. I was just in a neighboring county because I couldn't get in at Butler, and, so at the time.
Got it. And all right, so that happens in 2005. You reject him. How did it end up? Again, we haven't read the lawsuit, so we don't know anything. You got to imagine that everybody listening has never heard your story, so we're trying to understand. Okay, so you said no, and then how did it end up that you were in a relationship with him?
Well, after that evening occurred, again, you can, read the lawsuit, or anybody can, reference it by just Googling my name. But anyway, but then as time went on, I ended up getting called for an interview, and then I interviewed for the position, and then I got hired, and I didn't think anything would even happen. I thought that I'd be working as a probation officer, but then he started summoning me up to his chambers, pretty frequently. And, I was just scared, and he was asking for sexual favors and just different things that would happen. And he had a lot of control over me because he was my boss, and it just went on for several years. And, it's all on lawsuit, but.
So he thought that you guys were in a romantic relationship, but are you saying that you felt that you had to partake in the sexual relationship because he was your boss? Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't want to lose my job. I put myself through college. Originally, I don't know if you researched me at all, but I originally had moved to Ohio for a couple of years. I got my first probation officer job. I got out there, and then I was homesick. So then I was trying to move back, and then I got hired in Pittsburgh. And I worked there for a year, and then, I got hired in Butler, and then the rest of my career was in Butler County.
Right. So that's why they were saying you were a highly respected and a person of high integrity, because you had worked this job for years and nothing like this had ever happened.
No, I was treated with respect at my other places. So.
Right.
Actually, in Ohio, I was actually moving up pretty quick. I probably would have been a supervisor there because they had me as a drug court officer, and I was moving up, but it was just, I wanted to be home. I was 6 hours away, and I didn't like being away that, I had, my family was, and I wanted to be back home. So
you're from Butler, Pennsylvania. Now, girl, what's been going on in Butler? As if your story wasn't enough. Didn't you guys have a lot of press recently? That's where, for those of you who don't know, which you should, but just in case, that's where a presidential candidate assassination attempt happened, right?
Yes.
What happened in Butler? Was that the talk of the town, or tell me about it? What's your experience? Did you know anybody associated?
Yeah, I knew a lot of people that was there. Yeah, it's actually the victim, the guy that passed away. He only lives 10 minutes from my house.
But the guy who attempted the assassination?
The guy that was victimized, Corey Comparator. The guy that died. There was one that got shot and killed. Because there was a total, I believe, of 3 victims. and 2 of them were in the hospital. I think they may have gotten released. I'm not sure. But the other one, he died. And he only lives 10 minutes from my house, or he lived 10 minutes from my house. But I didn't know him personally, but I drove by his house all the time because, I always travel down that way to, go to the grocery store. But yeah, and then his funeral was only like 5 minutes from my house. So, I mean, it's a very small community. And the where it happened, it was about 30 minutes from my house in Butler.
Oh, so you didn't know the main guy. Let me just tell you, I avoid political news like the plague. So I know nothing about this. I didn't even associate Butler, Pennsylvania with that assassination attempt. It was my husband who said, oh, that's where there was the presidential assassination attempt. So I haven't read anything. All I know is there was an attempt on a presidential candidate. I hate political news. I hate anything associated with it. But so many people, when they found out that you were from Butler, I got 50 questions. Oh my God, does she know the guy? Did you? Like, everybody in Butler knows one another, so they're positive that you were hanging out or knew somebody who hung out with the shooter. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't want to ask that. But it is fascinating, right?
Yeah, and the news, they still are, I just drove by the farm show grounds yesterday, and there was still news set up underneath a pavilion, and they were getting interviewed. I saw the news lady and the cameras and everything. They were hanging out there every day, it seems like. I mean, every time you go by there, they're there. Yeah, so I don't know if they're still, I'm assuming they're still investigating, but yeah, it's still things are still going on. And now we've heard that he's supposedly coming back to Butler. That was the latest.
Yeah. My husband, who listens to all the political stuff, he said that he's going back there to do, I don't know, whatever he's going to do.
I think. Yeah.
What is he going to do you think?
Another rally, because, he didn't get, I was actually watching the rally on TV. I did not attend it, but I was actually watching it just because it was close. I don't get involved in politics, but I was interested in it because it was close to home.
It's Butler, yeah.
And so anyway, he didn't even really get to talk very long, and then it happened. So the rally was pretty much done after that. So that's my guess why he's probably returning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's returning given what happened, but
wow. So did you know anybody who knew somebody who knew someone who said, "Hey, I knew that guy. I went to school with them."
Yeah. I didn't know not the shooter. I didn't know anybody that knew the shooter, but I knew quite a few people who attended the rally. And I had a personal friend that her brother actually was very close to the shooter and got to see the action. I was getting a lot of text messages from a lot of people that was there telling me what had happened, what they saw, that day. I mean, it was just my phone was blowing up, So even though I didn't attend it, I saw it on TV, and I got a lot of inside info just from people that attended it. So,
wow. Yeah. So the shooter definitely was from Butler, and because I heard these rumors he wasn't even from Butler. They just are saying he's from Butler. I'm like, why?
No, he wasn't from Butler. I believe from what the news said, I think he was from Bethel Park, and Bethel Park, I believe, is south of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's our neighboring city. That's Allegheny County. We're in Butler County, so Allegheny County borders Butler County. So he was probably about Bethel Park. I'm thinking it's about an hour away. Depending on where you're at. So where he was from, but yeah, so, he wasn't from Butler County, but he was fairly close,
That's good, because we got the Crystal Starnes story. Now we got the presidential assassination attempt. I'm coming to take a tour of Butler, Pennsylvania. I want to know what else is going on. Maybe some action will happen while I'm there. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh boy. Yeah. So it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you'll find more stuff if you research Butler County.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, are you going to go to the rally when that presidential candidate comes back? Or you're too scared, right?
we don't get. I try to stay away from politics like you, and I because of working in law enforcement all my life, I know better not to go to those type of events because stuff can happen, and my husband and I, we stay away from that type of stuff.
Oh my gosh! Well, fingers crossed they're not going to do it again. And oh my gosh, I don't want to see. I don't care. I don't care who it is. I just think, why would you try to assassinate a presidential candidate if you are not already sniper trained? Because from what I read about the guy, he wasn't a professional sniper. He just clipped his ear. He totally missed. Now, I mean, not saying that I wanted him to hit, but I mean, why would you even do that? I cannot wait till the full story comes out, because that's what I'm interested in, the psychology behind why he would do that. It's amazing what people would do. Anyway, what are you going to do?
I'll tell you, I was very shocked that happened there. I mean,
yeah, I think the last attempt was Reagan.
Yeah.
Reagan. Yeah. That's the last. Wasn't he Republican too? See, I don't even know. But maybe he was. They've got hate for the Republicans, apparently. Okay. So you are among being a producer and oh God, you're multi-hyphenated, which everybody is in the entertainment industry. My family on the East Coast says, why does everybody have 3, 4, 5, 6 titles? We have 1 title on the East Coast. I'm like, that is so not true. Don't say that. Okay, so were you an actress before this happened to you, or did you become an actress after? And if so, why did you decide to become an actress?
I'm good friends with an actress that is from Maryland, like near Washington, D.C. And she actually...
I went to Towson State University in Maryland.
Oh, wow. But she invited me to come to... She was getting an award, and she invited me there, and they happened to be filming that weekend. So the producer or the film director, whatever, asked if I'd want to be in it. And I said, I've never done that before, And he said, well, I could give you a role. And, I said, well, okay, I guess I'll try it, So I did. And I got to be in 2 different scenes, and I got to have lines the first time I ever did it. And I did fine. And ever since that, I just, his name's June DeGuizio. And I have done, a few movies. I've also produced some movies, not with him, but with some other people. I mean, people have reached out to me to do this type of stuff. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And I kind of enjoy it because it's kind of a challenge. And one of the scenes that I did for this one movie, I was a victim. I was a domestic violence victim. And it was easy for me because towards the end of my career, the last 6 or 7 years of my career, I had the domestic violence caseload. The PFA is a protection from abuse defendants. So, I mean, I was able to do that pretty easily because, I used to supervise all the parolees and probationers that, were the abusers. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so that came kind of easy for me. And then
what was the name of the film, by the way? We want to get that in, the name of the film first.
Love Controls All, I believe is what it is. If you go into my IMDb, they're all listed on there.
Okay. If not, we can ask Alan Greenstein, who is very interactive. We love him. He said he lives in Maryland and he met Crystal there and was in the same film. Oh, so I assume he's an actor. Oh, look, the director, I think, is June DeGuizio. Was it a guy or a girl?
A guy, yes.
A guy. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, thank you, Alan. Help us throughout the interview for any information. He's on top of our interview, isn't he, Crystal? Okay. So, when you were first in the film, first of all, for you to have been offered that, not having any prior experience, was very, very lucky. So I hope you know how lucky you were. And that was so wonderful. So did that experience open up your mind to what you might possibly want to pursue? Like, did you say, oh my God, I love this acting shit, I want to be an actress?
Yes, I loved it. And I would be open to doing more, if somebody reached out to me. I mean, I'm not trying to pursue it.
Yeah.
People have reached out to me, and then I'll say yes or no, but yeah, I am interested in it because I know I can do it. Obviously I've done a few now, and I would enjoy it. And even like from my prior career as a probation officer, I mean, if anybody would want a role of that or a law enforcement attorney, I probably could fill that because,
Right.
my experience.
Let's talk about that. Remember, I told you before the show, when people found out you were a probation officer, I had no idea how many people want to be probation officers. And Alan's back. What do you say? Must take advantage of all opportunities. Yes, Alan Greenstein, we must. I think I told you that I am obsessed with reality television. I watch 60 Days In, Love Before Lockup. If there's somebody that's a criminal, I'm going to be watching the show, right? Criminal Minds, Law and Order, you name it. I don't know why I'm so fascinated with the law. Well, when I first started out in college, I thought I had wanted to be a lawyer, so I was taking all these law classes. But then when I found out how much shit you had to read, I said, oh, no, I can't do it. Woo! So I said, I'm switching to psychology. And then I'm like, oh, no, there's so much to read. Oh, I'm switching to business. So I ended up getting a degree in business administration with a minor in marketing. And that was my bag. I could do that. But being a retired probation officer, first of all, why did you decide that you wanted to be a probation officer? What was the interest initially?
I mean, originally I wanted to be a state trooper, and I ended up taking the test, and I passed it, and I actually got an interview. But when they said that I had to go away for training at that time, I was scared, and I didn't want to go away that long. And so I didn't go any further. I was done at that point. And then then I decided that I wanted to be a probation officer because, I always wanted to help people. I mean, I always had a passion for helping. It makes me feel good when I help someone.
Yeah.
And I liked how they were law enforcement, but they were also helping, meaning they may try to rehabilitate an offender, put them in treatment, try to help them instead of just locking them up all the time.
Right.
So you could balance it. You could be either law enforcement one day, or you could be treatment. You could have to be a middle ground, but you could do both, and you could be in plain clothes. Like you could dress up going to work, because you'd be in court and different things. So I liked that because I really didn't want to be in a uniform. No, I wanted to be, able to dress up in a suit or a dress or, whatever. But then if I had to go in the field or something, then I dress appropriately to go out in the field to do my field visits. But I mean, that's what really attracted me to probation, because it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even have to be labeled. They're not going to know who I am. When I leave work, I can just go to the grocery store and everybody's going to know, they're not going to know, I mean, so I loved that. And I just loved that I could also help people. Like if somebody had a drug addiction, I didn't have to just put them in jail. I could, maybe put them in treatment, or, I loved helping them, and I loved seeing success over the years when I was a PO. I loved seeing that as well. But
now, what did becoming a probation officer entail? Like, did you have to take special classes? Did you have some training? Did you have to learn how to shoot a gun?
Yeah.
Tell me how it happened.
Yes. My undergrad is in criminology. So I had, a lot of criminology courses, sociology, and then I took some psychology courses. And then, when you become a probation officer, they put you through training. So, you have to go through various training, gun training. You have to go through book training, and get certifications. And then you have to have 40 hours of training every year. So you got to go to trainings every single year. I mean, but they were always pretty good at letting us choose where we wanted to go, unless it was something that everybody had to have, then we had to always do that. Like we had baton training, that's a weapon that we utilized. We had OC training. OC is like mace, you probably know what mace is, but we called it OC. You know, we had that training every year, and then gun training. You know, we always had to qualify every year. So,
Oh, I'd like that, shooting the guns.
That's another thing that was nice. You didn't have to carry your gun all the time. Like, I was one of the probation officers. I mean, I carried it when I was in the field, but I really didn't carry it much in the office or in the courthouse. I mean, sometimes I did, but it was very, very rare. I don't know. I felt that wearing it is sometimes intimidating when you're trying to talk with a defendant across from you, or if you're with them in court. I didn't like having the gun on because I felt like it was kind of intimidating. That was my feel. Everybody had their own opinion on things, and they gave us the freedom of that. We didn't have to wear it all the time, so I did like that. But
you couldn't carry it in your purse?
No, you had to have it in a holster. I mean, it was just the way it was. But I don't know. It's just over the years, I never had to worry. Like, I never got hurt, you know, with a gun. Nobody ever threatened to shoot me. I mean, I didn't have to. I never went through that, and it was all in how I treated people. I was very nice most of, you know what I mean, most of the time, talking with them and stuff, and not intimidating. And I really think that helped. You know, a lot of my defendants, they trusted me, and you know, I don't know. I'm happy how I handled myself over the years, and I didn't get hurt, and I didn't even wear my gun that much. I did not wear it that much. There's officers.
I would have worn it every day with some boots with spurs on. Yeah. I would have liked that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what are some of the responsibilities the job responsibilities that one has to participate in as a probation officer? Like, take me through just one day. What you do.
Okay, so people, you know, obviously they get arrested and they may get sentenced to jail, or they may get sentenced to probation. Okay, so if they get sentenced to probation, then what happens is they get processed. They'll come down to the office, or sometimes you do it up at court, and you have to go over rules of probation. You have to give them a firearms notification form if they had a felony or any offense that required them not to own a gun. They have to have this, give them this form, and then they have to sign off on it because, you know, it's just the rules. And then, you know, if they had community service to do, we would have to give them paperwork on that. And costs and fines, we had to give them paperwork on that, you know, and show them where they pay their stuff. And, you know, just basically the rules of probation was, you know, they had to follow like all these rules. And one of them would be they're not, you know, allowed to leave the state. They would have to get permission, and we would have to do interstate if they ever had to leave the state. If they were on house arrest, you know, they weren't allowed to go out of their house unless they had windows. Windows is time to leave. You know, so I mean, it just depended on their situation, you know, what type of rules they had to follow. Sometimes they were individualized, and sometimes it was just general, depending on what the crime was. I mean, basically we tried to individualize them, but everybody had pretty much the same basic rules. But then there were some that we had like parole plans that we would list specific things for the people.
Now, I want to ask you something, because I'm getting a little suspicious of this inmate to roommate show that I'm watching. Again, another reality show. So this show, the premise is, and I want to be respectful. I don't know whether to call them criminals or inmates, or what do you call a person when they get out of jail and then they have to go to either a halfway house or somewhere to live? Is it former offenders, or what's the?
You could say former offender, or you could say parolee if they're on parole. It just depends.
Okay, parolees. All right. So I'm watching this show called it's called Inmate to Roommate, and the premise is that people are getting out of jail and they have to either they would normally go to a halfway house, or, as you said, whatever the condition of their release is. Well, in this particular show, they are released to people who have houses, and they agree to let the parolees come and live at the house, and then they have certain agreements, like they'll pay this amount of money, they have to get a job, they have to do whatever the conditions are. And that sounded fine to me, but these it's the second season, so it didn't happen in the first season, but in this season they have parolees living with these people who they don't have a criminal record, but they are bringing their friends over who are in rehab or are past criminals or are on probation, and they're allowed to interact on this TV show. And I thought that's an absolute no-no, right?
No.
So how do you think that happened? Do you think they're making some sort of an agreement with, but if that's a no, how are they allowing these people to interact with their criminal friends on the show?
Fortunately, I mean, obviously they don't always follow the rules. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't, I don't know.
Yeah, there's this one guy. Oh my God, Crystal. Okay, so he is absolutely dead set. He calls his parole officer and he lies about everything. He's like, yeah, I'm on my way. Oh, my car broke down. I can show you some footage when he put something in the tank to make it smoke. And the parole officer believes him and says, okay, well, he has to report by 5 o'clock. Okay, we'll give you 24 hours and you have to. So he's doing all these things and the parole officer keeps giving him chance after chance after chance. And I'm like, how is that possible? So now in the last episode, he has gone to the hardware store and he's determined that he's going to bring 3 chicks into his bedroom, and he went and got a rope ladder which he put out the window for the girls to climb up to get into his room, and all 3 of them are in rehab. And I thought, how is that possible? So that's not possible. When you get out, you're not supposed to interact with criminals. So this is
you're not supposed, I mean, obviously we can't, I mean, any probation officer can't watch everybody. I mean, you know, they can do that.
Yeah, it's not their fault, but the criminal is doing it.
It's the what?
And the criminal is doing it. It's on television. So can't the probation officer bring charges once he sees this, or it's too late?
It just, well, I mean, you can't control who they interact with, but if they're in a secure environment, meaning like a halfway house, then the people that work at the halfway house should not be allowing that to happen.
Oh no, these are private homes. They're released to people in private homes.
Okay, well, I mean, they yeah, I mean, obviously, if they're doing illegal activity or drinking or doing drugs or whatever, and they're not supposed to be doing that, and they get caught, they're going to get violated. You know, their supervision will get violated, meaning they'll probably go back before the judge, and you know, there will be a sanction, you know, imposed. You know, that's the one thing that was nice about being a PO. You could, you know, decide if you were going to do a warning or take them back before the judge. You know, you could put them in jail if it was severe. You know,
yeah.
You could just
so that
them in
this guy says, "Oh yeah, PO officers," because the person who owned the house said, "Wait a minute, I don't think you're supposed to interact with people that are out on parole." And he said, "Oh yeah, parole officers don't do that anymore. That's old news. You don't get in trouble with your parole officer anymore." And I said, "I'm gonna ask Crystal. I don't think that's right." So then
it may be more lax now. I mean, it may be different. I mean, I've been out of there for several years now, so I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that's still the rule. Yeah, that's still the rule. That's still the rule, I'm sure. Now, you are what are you okay, so you brought the case in 2017. When did everything get settled and you were finished with the case? When did the settlement happen?
I believe it was 2020. 2021.
Oh, during COVID. Oh. So why did you settle, girl? I think you could have got millions. $200,000.
I was burned out. I just
wanted yeah.
with it.
That's true. Did you go through, obviously, the mental strain of going through something like that and having to remember it and talk about it over and over and over and over? That's enough for me to, now that I think about it, yeah, I don't think I would have, I think I would have settled too. But what was happening to you personally? Were you married? Was your husband supportive?
Yes.
You know, okay. Ah,
Yeah, he's retired from there. He actually worked under the same judge as well.
what?
He retired, you know, before I filed the lawsuit. So he's out of there for
Oh, so were you married to him while this whole thing was going on?
part of the time, but not the whole time now.
Okay. So what did he think about, you know, this whole situation? Did it impact your marriage? Because I know a lot of people who this happened to, they ended up getting divorced or separated. Or how did you and your husband work through this? What are some tips that you can give to other people?
Yeah, he encouraged me to file. I was, you know, I would have probably never done it, but he, like, you know, said we need to do this, and so we did, and I'm glad we did. But he was just very supportive because he, you know, just felt it was wrong, and you know, he witnessed stuff through the years. I mean, he, you know, he worked under the same person, and he had other people in the building tell him stories, and this is before him and I got together, you know, my current husband and I, but he knew stuff, you know, from years prior, you know, with this person. So you understand, so he knew things that I didn't know per se at the time, and you know, but then, you know, he just felt that this was not right, and you know, needed to get pursued. And unfortunately, some of the people that, you know, allegedly that similar stuff happened to them, they didn't come forward.
Nobody?
As my husband always says, they were chickens that wouldn't get off the porch, you know.
Yeah.
They're chickens.
Oh.
So, but yeah, they didn't come forward, you know, but I did, and I'm glad I came forward. And you know, if they don't want to come forward, then they can live with that the rest of their life. But I came forward, and now I can, you know, talk about it and keep spreading awareness. And but
did you lose a lot of friends and friends that were coworkers when this happened? I imagine.
Yes, some I did lose some friends, but some, you know, supported me as well. I mean, I kept a lot of friends as well. You know, I still have people on my Facebook. I actually have a couple of judges that are current judges right now that are on my Facebook. So yeah, so I mean, I still have some support. And I have a lot of attorneys on my Facebook that are still supportive of me.
Right.
And I'm friends with them to this day, that I message them and I talk to them to this day. So I can call them on the phone, you know, so, and other probation officers I'm still good friends with that I still communicate with. So I am still, you know, in contact with a lot of people, you know, that I used to work with, but there were some that, you know, they probably were never my friend. They probably were just like, you know, snakes, I guess is the best word to say, you know. But yeah, and I don't care that I've lost them, because they don't mean nothing to me. You know, I just, you know what, you're lost because
that's right.
Right thing. And I actually had people, you know, try to intimidate me at work, trying to say, why are you doing this? You know, you're not going to win. You know, and those are the people that pretty much, they got their job. You know, they were friends with the person, the perpetrator. And, you know, they, you know, cared more about their, you know, job, or, you know, whatever. I mean, their bread was being buttered, basically, is the best scenario, you know, thing I can say. And they didn't really care, you know, and about me. They didn't care how it affected me. And, and I obviously proved them wrong. So, you know, four judges support me, you know. Judge Bassoon from the first court that we went through, she supported me. And then whenever he appealed it, because he tried to say he was immune, the three circuit court judges supported me as well. So he lost that appeal.
Now, how is it that he is, because the way I have witnessed most situations here with the hashtag #MeToo, once someone is accused of doing something like that, they're pretty much either blacklisted or they lose their job completely. Why was he still allowed to continue being a judge?
I do not know. I do not know, because it was founded, and I don't know how he was able to keep his job. He wasn't allowed to run for election, was my understanding, is what I was told. So he didn't get the right. He could have ran for election. He could have served another term, but he was pretty much done at the end of the year. So, you know, yeah, he may have got to retire, but he didn't get to go run for election, because if he would have been able to get back in, then he would have earned more money, obviously. So, you know, he's not a judge anymore.
Oh, okay. So he retired shortly after this.
Yes, he retired shortly after.
Yeah, I'm sure they encouraged him to retire, because that doesn't make the court system.
A little bit of the inside, but yeah, I wasn't fully satisfied with the outcome for him, but the fact that he wasn't able to run for election, I'm satisfied with that. I mean, but I just feel that they should have taken him off the bench at the time.
Yeah.
I think that the law needs to change. I think the Judicial Conduct Board needs to reevaluate their roles and conditions for judges. And I think that they need to change that. And, you know, if this happens again, you know, the judge needs to be removed.
Was he married and had children at the time?
Yes. And I don't know, did you research him at all?
No. I don't research anyone. I like to find out everything fresh. So I didn't do, other than watching that video, I didn't look anything up because I wanted it to come from you.
Okay.
I don't do that.
So during the lawsuit, his son ended up getting arrested for child pornography charges. And he was found guilty of, I believe, 39 counts. They threw out 6 counts, 39 counts of the child pornography. He didn't do 1 day in jail. And he's on Megan's Law. You can look him up on Megan's Law. But I believe he just got probation. So, I mean, he didn't do any time in jail. And his charges were pretty serious, because the children were very young victims. I mean, you can look it up. It's all public knowledge. Yeah. And, the community was very upset over it, you know, because they felt there was some favoritism shown. And
wow.
Yeah. And most people, if they do a crime like that, they usually do time in jail for that. So I
mean, look at the poor guy. I don't want to say poor guy. Look at the guy from Subway. Remember him? The guy who was really large and he lost all the weight. Jared. Yeah, he was hard. He was a hardcore pornographer, and he went to jail.
Right. Yeah.
So a simple person, it's not like that particular judge is a celebrity judge. He's just a regular judge. So right. I don't know why he got shown special disposition. Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm surprised that the wife stayed with him after all of this, but you know, these are things you learn in the house. If the child is watching pornography, I mean, maybe the father did it. He learned it. I mean, you learn a lot of things in your household, not to say this is a fact, but, you know, birds of a feather, or the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, you know, that old cliche. Wow. Well, I mean, so he's not allowed. So since he retired, he's not allowed to be another judge, or do you think not just him, but a person that is in that situation, are they allowed to be in public office when they have charges like that against them? Do you know?
It just depends on what the Judicial Conduct Board, what their conditions are that they gave the person. You know, I mean, I don't know I don't know all the details. I just got a letter from them. So, and I know what they told my attorney. My attorney told me in confidence, but, you know, I don't know everything, you know, of what his conditions were afterwards.
Was this in Butler? So did he live in Butler, PA too? So he still lives there, and so do you. I'd be so afraid I'd run into him and I'd be having to stab him in the eye.
I have not ran into him all the time. My husband has a few times, but I have not. And it's been wonderful. I love that, because I hope if I ever do, I'll just go the other way. I'm not even going to acknowledge, you know.
Turn the other cheek and point your shoe in the other direction. Wow. Well, I'm just so glad that do you feel like I know that in the interview you had said that you had suffered PTSD, right? Did you seek out any sort of mental help from this? Was it so bad that you had to seek out mental help? And if so, are you still seeing?
I was talking with a therapist. It's an older lady, and I talk to her now like once a month. I still stay in contact with her. But yeah, I mean, I just talk now. I've just gotten used to it over the years, you know. But she's a very nice lady, and she gives such good advice, and she's just nice to talk to, you know, to vent if I need to vent about stuff, and you know, but you know, things are getting a lot better, you know, I feel, to a point. I mean, I still have it, but I think with me doing the voice for victims and the podcasting, it's really helped me over time, because I'm helping so many people, and my focus is on that now. Like, I'm just trying to help, you know.
Yeah.
Why I went to school. Why did I go to college? Because I wanted to help people. Why did I pursue the career of probation? I wanted to help people. Well, that's why I'm doing podcasting. I want to help people, you know.
Do you have any sort of tips or advice for people that might that could prevent them from being subjected to that situation, or if they are right now in the same situation, what can they do?
Well, first thing, if they're in the situation, I would be telling somebody. I mean, whether it's, if you don't trust your employer, then don't tell them right away. Maybe go to an attorney. You know, you can always go to an attorney and speak to them. First time, it's usually free. You know, you can consult with an attorney anytime, and it's all confidential. You know, attorney-client privilege. They can't disclose what you discuss. So, you know, that would be my suggestion. You know, go seek legal help, you know, and see if you have a case or whatever.
You know, a lot of people, I guess, oh God, I have so many questions here. A lot of people don't realize it, believe it or not. They sometimes don't realize that they're in a abusive relationship because of various things happening to them as a child. A lot of people who live in chaos, they don't realize that they're actually living in chaos because that might have been a situation that they grew up in. Mm-hmm. So it's very normal for them, and it's accepted behavior, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's sexual abuse, whatever the situation is. So what do you think you could give are some maybe advice to them where if they feel uncomfortable, they look at themselves and say, wait a minute, am I a victim of some sort of abuse? Whether, again, obviously domestic violence, they know when they're being hit, but it's not okay, but they stay in the relationships for years. But what if it's a situation like yours where they're in a work environment and they are being asked to do sexually permissive things?
I mean, one of the things that I did over the years, I journaled, you know, if something, you know, didn't seem right, I would journal it, you know, and that was just generally in the job. But, you know, maybe journal it, and obviously they need to tell somebody, but, you know, looking back on it, I wish I would have reported it sooner. I was just too scared, and I didn't want to lose my job. I mean, you know, that's the problem. Like, a lot of these people, you know, I just know from experience, you work so hard, you put yourself through school. I mean, I was raised by my dad since I was 4 years old. So I had to work extra hard growing up. I had to, you know, do my own laundry, you know, cook for myself. My dad used to work long hours. He worked at a steel mill. And, you know, so I had to learn things at a young age to, you know, and I worked very hard to get to where I was. So for me, it was very, very difficult for me to report it, because the way our community was very like, I don't know if I want to use the word corrupt, but it just, the environment, you know, it's a lot of nepotism that went on in the building and everything. And I didn't want to, I was afraid if I told, nobody would believe me, and I would automatically get fired, and then it would just ruin me. You know what I mean? And that's where a lot of the reason why I never went forward. But looking back on, I wish I would have just went forward and went and found another job. I wish I would have got over that fear and just, but I mean, everything happens for a reason, but that's the best advice I could tell. If it's happening, get the heck out. Don't waste those years. I wasted so many years there, so many years. And I mean, ever since I got out of there, oh my gosh, it's been a breath of fresh air. I mean, I'm so happy I'm out of there. Oh my gosh.
You feel like a new person, such a weight lifted off of you, right?
Yes, I don't have to worry about all that crap over there.
Craziness. I wouldn't want to ever be stopped in Butler, Pennsylvania in the courthouse.
I try to stay away from there. I don't even want to be anywhere near it. I don't want those memories. I don't want to be even. No. I'm just so happy. It's like a relief. It's like, wow, I'm so happy I got there.
I bet. Now, other than, so now it's some questions that we had. It's a combination of my questions and questions that when you were announced to come on the show that were asked by other people. Hold on one sec. Yes, Albert.
You have another video, remember?
Oh, yeah, I do. I remember the other video. The executive producer, he's like, you have another video you want to show. So other than what you experienced with the sexual harassment situation, what was the most challenging process that you experienced as an adult probation officer, and how did you overcome the obstacles?
This is nothing with the lawsuit, just as being a probation officer.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it, always wanting to make the right decision when you, like, if a person violates their supervision, we had a lot to do with like their outcome. We could do agreements. We could type up court orders and present it to the court. And basically, like, when you would go to a hearing, you would meet with their attorney, and then the prosecutor would be there. And then if everybody was in agreement to what the probation officer come up with, then we just basically, everybody signed off on it. The judge signed off on it and it was done. And then, but if not everybody was in agreement, then you had to testify in court and go to a full-blown hearing. So I guess the challenge for me, there were two challenges. The first challenge was, the agreements. I always wanted to make sure I was doing the right thing and making the right agreement for everybody. Even if they agreed to it, I had to live with that decision, every night when I go home. I always wanted to make sure I did the right thing. And then the other challenge was when I would have to testify in court if I'd go to a full-blown hearing. I mean, I was always prepared, but, you're always, nervous when you're testifying in court. You don't know what the other attorney's going to ask you. You got to be right on your toes and have all your facts and everything. I mean, I always did good, but it was always a challenge to me. Because I'm in front of a courtroom and everything, but I always handled it well. So I guess those were always the two challenges. I always wanted to make sure at the end of the day that I made the right decision on everything, because you're dealing with people's lives.
Yeah.
And, I always would think about it. I'd even go home thinking about it. Like if I had a court hearing the next day, I would think about this at night on my own time. Should I do this? Should I, I just want to make sure. I would be processing this stuff in my mind. I mean, I didn't just like live the job at work. I lived the job on my off time too.
Right. Yeah, I imagine that. It's a lot to weigh on your mind.
Yeah.
Now, what is your proudest career accomplishment of your life, and why?
I would say I started the reentry program in Butler County, Pennsylvania. I was the first probation officer to do the reentry program. I was the first probation officer. They had built a new prison, and I was the first probation officer to be in that prison. And I was the first one to do the parole plans. And I was the one that created the program, along with my supervisor at the time. But I was the one that created the documents and everything. And I believe they still use the same format that I implemented, years ago. So
what's the reentry program?
The reentry program is, I don't know how they do it now, but back whenever I did it, it was basically doing parole plans. Like when somebody's getting released from jail, you would do this parole plan individualized for that person. And then, you know, you kind of help transition them from jail to the community.
Okay.
You know, and then after, you know, it would go from jail to the community. And then while they're in the community, it would have like certain conditions on there that they would have to complete and, you know, try to help them. And, you know, you would link them with services. So
Yeah.
that's what it was.
That's sort of like my reality show, Inmate to Roommate. Okay. What strategy Alan's back. Crystal provides a great service giving people a voice. Thank you, Mr. Allen. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Now, what strategy, Crystal, do you employ to continue self-motivation as in your career pursuits? Because obviously you're not a probation officer anymore. You won your lawsuit. What did you use to self-motivate for you to start your current, because you are the founder of Voices for Victims, LLC. So what did you use for your self-motivation to start that company? And why did you start it? Obviously, we know.
Well, yeah. But I would pray a lot. And, you know, one day I was thinking and I thought, you know what, I'm missing something. You know, I felt like, you know, I'm just not myself. Like, you know, when I was a probation officer, that was what's my makeup. That was who I was. That's all I knew. Right. And I was thinking, like, you know, why did I become a probation officer? Because I wanted to help people, you know, inside. So then I started thinking, you know, how can I help people? And then, you know, eventually I discovered podcasting, and I had a fear of doing the podcasting. So I started off at doing audio because I didn't want to be seen. I did not want to be on video.
But you're so beautiful. Why would you not want to be seen if I look like you? I want everybody to look at me all day. Look at this angle. Look at this angle.
Thank you. Well, I think a lot of it was just because going through the lawsuit, you know, I had a lot of ostracism in the community, and I was nervous, and I guess my self-esteem went down a notch, and I just didn't feel confident, I guess is the best word to explain it. So I started off doing audio. And then what happened was I had a guy from Canada that he runs Just TV, and he reached out to me a few times, you know, wanting me to do a video show. And I'm like, there's no way I'm doing no video show, you know, do audio. That's all I want to do. But he kept pursuing it. So I finally said, okay, I'll try it. So then that's how I started the Crystal Starnes show, you know, because I had to come up with a different name. And so then I started doing it as I did it. I got more comfortable, and then I got back to what I used to be. I mean, this is how I was when I was a PO, you know. I mean, I was very confident and everything. So I slowly, you know, it came back to me. But the whole reason why I did it and the motivation was, the purpose was, I felt it was my calling, and I felt that, you know, I needed to help people. I mean, it was more, I think God worked through me to try to, you know, to help. I guess. I'm hearing two names. I'm hearing the Crystal Starnes show, and then I'm hearing the Voices for Victims show. So you're saying you started the Crystal Starnes show first. What was your platform for the Crystal Starnes show? I actually started it second. I started Voice for Victims first. Okay. But then I do the Crystal Starnes show in addition to the Voice for Victims, but I'm now different. Are they the same, or are they different? They're different. The Crystal Starnes show basically interviews like actors, you know, actors, singers, entrepreneurs. I believe I have interviewed some victims on that show, but I try to put a lot of the victims in the Voice for Victims show, because it makes more sense. But I mean, sometimes if somebody wants to go on that because it's aired on Just TV, I will do that. But yeah, it's mainly just for like entertainment industry people is what I mainly focus on for the Crystal Starnes show. And then the Voice for Victims, it's more about, you know, trying to spread awareness, getting people to talk about different, you know, maybe legal terms or a victim story. You know, it's about educating the community. I mean, Voice for Victims is my baby. I call that that's me. Yeah. That's what I wanted to do. I got ventured off because people reached out to me, and I got into doing these other shows. But my heart is in Voice for Victims. That's that's what I want to do. But I still want to help the singers and the actors and everybody. I love interviewing them. I have people coming on next week. I'm going to be interviewing pre-recording, but I enjoy that too, because you know what? I've learned meeting these singers and actors, some of them have stories. So and they've opened up to me. And a lot of them that write songs, they have a story behind it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, it's all connected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all connected. So I have been on Voice for Victims as well, because they had a story, and I said, well, I'm just going to bring in Voice for Victims. You have a story, and we'll just do both.
Come on over. Now, when I went to the website, crystalstarnes.com, and then voiceforvictimspodcast.com, I noticed that I noticed one, that it's an LLC, not a .org. So I was wondering why you decided to go that route. And secondly, I wanted to know, actually, Robin from Red Bank, New Jersey. I was just talking about that. Wanted to know, why are you an LLC? And I noticed that you're asking for donations, but I don't see what it's for. Where does the money go?
Well, I made it an LLC because I really wasn't sure what to do. Basically, I wanted to do podcasting. So I spoke with an attorney, and we decided to do an LLC just as a protection, for podcasting and everything. That was all I was doing it for, originally. But it is considered, in Pennsylvania, it's considered a charitable organization, even the LLC. Like, I have gotten paperwork. I had everything established, an attorney did it. So it can accept donations. And I mean, I pay for several memberships, and I'm obviously doing a service for the community. So, I'm spending money out of my own pocket to do this. Right. You understand I'm getting that? Like,
what? Yeah. What do they get? I guess, what do they get for a donation, I guess, is what she's saying. And she didn't say it right.
Okay. Not donate. I guess sponsor, like if they have a business, like I'll advertise their business on my podcast, or I'll advertise it on my website. So if they want to put their logo on my website for so many months, they can pay for that service. I mean, it's called sponsorships, basically. Like, they're getting a service, they may have their logo on the website, or I may announce their business on my podcast to advertise their business, so they're paying for a service. So that money, goes towards that. And then obviously, there's costs involved in doing podcasting. So, it would just cover the cost for podcasting. But it's obviously, if you're advertising, if you go and advertise in a newspaper, are you going to get it for free, or are you going to pay something?
Right. Of course.
So that's what I do is if they are going to sponsor the Voice for Victims, then I can put their logo on the website to advertise them so that they can get business, or, announce their.
What if they're just a regular person? What do they get if they pay? What do they get for that? Or is it just for businesses? Like,
I don't know how to answer. I'm not sure how to answer.
Oh, that. Okay. So
I call it sponsor. I've always been told that sponsorship. So basically, if they have a business or something, and you advertise their business on your podcast, they call it sponsorship. So, but it's still, right. I guess, still considered like a donation. I don't really know.
Yeah. Like if I say, for example, I don't have a business, and I come on your website, and if I give you money and I'm just a regular person, what do I get just as a regular old housewife person? What do I get for my? So maybe what you should do is change it to donation.
Okay.
Maybe talk to your lawyer about that, because if you are accepting money, I'm sure your lawyer told you this, and again, I don't know the rules in Pennsylvania, but if it's sponsorship and you have a business, that's perfect, because you're giving them the service of advertising on your website. But if you're a regular person, you want to make sure you change the verbiage to donation, because if it's sponsorship, you've turned that into a business, and they're going to want to know, okay, well, what do I get for my money?
I actually have a flyer out there that like if somebody reaches out to me and they want me to advertise them, then I'll send them the flyer with the details of what each amount is. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
If they want to,
and so they're gonna give you money to advertise their company, and do you give them like data, like, okay, for this amount of money, you as an advertiser were seen by my podcast. It was 50,000 people in Butler, Pennsylvania. So here's the sheet, the monthly sheet. 50,000 people saw it in Butler. 40,000 people saw it in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Like the demographic.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done any of that stuff. So I haven't really done. I haven't really gotten any sponsorships. I mean, basically, I have been doing all this on my own. I've been spending out of my pocket this entire.
Alan's a sponsor. Alan Greenstein said he was a sponsor.
Sponsor, but Alan and I help each other out.
He's a sponsor. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Yeah, because a lot of people were asking me, oh, I can't get in to see, like Pamela said, she's in Fullerton, California. She said, I try to get into her sites, but I can't get in until I make a donation. So I can't see what.
She can still enter.
You can
still enter. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
you can enter. You don't have to make a donation.
Okay. All right. So if you want to know more about where your money goes, if you're going to donate, email her or go to her website. I don't have time for those questions, but thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know where money goes. She looks so good. Maybe it's for the lipstick. I spend all my money on my lipstick.
You don't have to worry. I haven't received. I've been paying for.
Well, email her with those particular questions if you want to donate. Okay, so let's talk about victims. Voice for Victims. How's that going? By the way, do you offer any services? What exactly do you just have people come on and talk about their stories? What happens with your show?
Basically, I just interview people. Anybody that has a story that is suffering in silence, or they have suffered in silence. I welcome that. As long as it's all factual. I welcome all that. So basically, it's just podcasting.
Do you verify their stories or ask them to provide some evidence that actually happened?
Yeah, I usually do a little bit of research, on them and, make sure it's legit. But I mean, so far, everybody has been, honest from what I can see.
Yeah. And you've never had somebody come on and they want revenge against their ex-boyfriend and they make lies up. You've never experienced that.
I've not experienced that. And one of the things I always tell everybody, don't say names, whenever you're on,
Right. Yeah. Unless it's been in the press and it's already in the
press. We're all educating.
That's right, because your ass will be sued big time. Oh my God. So are you still doing both of the shows audio, or have you switched to video for one?
A lot more video now. Yeah, I'm doing a lot. I mean, I still upload stuff on my audio. I still have the audio podcasting. So my videos I will upload on audio, and I have it on both platforms.
Is that do you think that that people want to come on? Because I like the idea of you doing the audio for the Voice for Victims, because not everybody wants to come on and show their face and tell their story. So I do think that should be audio.
Yes.
Right. I mean,
for Voice for Victims. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that should stay audio. But what about Crystal Starnes' show? Are you going to go video with that?
It's all video. Yeah, it's mostly video.
Oh, good. Yay. And what can we, if we go to the crystalstarnes.com, there should be a link on there for your show. Is it wait a minute, is that, do you do it on Spotify? Is that where you do your show, or how can we watch the video?
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube, The Crystal Starnes Show.
Crystal Starnes, and that's where all your video for all your guests
on Crystal Starnes Show and I also put Voice for Victims on there too. But yeah, they're all on there, and they're aired on Just TV, which gets over 700,000 views.
Just JUST, you said?
JESS TV. He's based out of Canada, but he's nationally known.
Oh, okay.
Of us that air our stuff on his network.
Is it on a streaming platform?
Yeah, it's on Roku TV, Just FM, Just TV. He has his own TV network. So all of our footage goes on to his, like, there's a bunch of us producers, and we put our stuff on his network, and he airs it for us.
So if we went on Netflix, if we went on Pluto, I guess that's
Roku.
Yeah, streaming platform.
Yeah, if you went on Roku, you would see it.
So we would. Oh, that's exciting! I'm gonna do that. And then, are you still on Spotify?
The Voice for Victims is on Spotify, and iHeart, and it's connected to all those.
Oh, good. So your show's broadcast on iHeart and all of those. You got it going on.
Yeah.
And do you have a weekly show or a monthly show or?
Lately, I haven't been doing as many shows. I've been kind of taking a little bit of a break, but I like to do them like at least maybe twice a month is what I've been pretty much doing. I for years, like when I started doing it, I was doing them every week. But now I'm just, not doing as many. But I have a waiting list, so I'm going to be doing more in October. I'm kind of taking a little bit of a so.
I know that waiting list. I got a waiting list with guests a year long, and I keep emailing me, when am I coming up? There's only so many days. Like my show is every Monday from 7 to 8. But, oh, my gosh, there's only so many days in a month. There's only 4. So I could realistically only have 52 people a year. But you have so many great people and you want to get them on. But people do not realize how hard it is to do a weekly show. And I'm consistent. I've been doing this for 21 years, every week, consistently. And when you are the producer and the host, you have to do all the research yourself. You have to do all of the administrative stuff. You have to do all of the PR flyers, the graphics, the everything. I'm the producer. I'm the director. I'm the administrative assistant. I'm the flyer. I do everything. I used to have an assistant, but with the pandemic, I can't find anybody that was as good as her anymore. But so I just say I'd rather do it myself. But it's very mentally time consuming. But there's Alan Greenstein. Fantastic, Priscilla. Fantastic. Who is Alan Greenstein? Tell me, Crystal, because he's been with us the whole night.
He is Supporter #Creatives is his brand. And he has a podcast as well. You might want to bring him on your show. He's also an actor. He's been in several movies. So right there he is. So he would be.
Oh, is that him? Oh, there he is. Alan, there you are. Okay. See, I didn't even know he was on there. Okay.
Yeah, so he would be a good one to bring on your show.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I really appreciate that he was so participatory through the whole night. That's very, very kind of him. And you really need that when you're doing a show. You need people to interact. I mean, I have so many questions for you, but we unfortunately don't have time to get through them. But I just wanted to find out from you, what are... I'll ask some of them. Okay, this is from Tanya from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Is that close to you, Lancaster?
About 4 or 5 hours away.
Oh, that's not close. Okay, she says, hey, Crystal, what are some do's and don'ts should a person who suspects they're a victim or think they know a victim incorporate into their lives? Okay, that's a big question. Okay, why don't we just do like some 3 do's and don'ts? So I'll start you off. Don't go to anyone for a job interview who says that they want to meet you at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. That's my don't. My do is always take some pepper spray, some mace, some, any kind of little weapon that you can on your keychain. If you saw my keychain, my cousin owns a company that makes products for female safety, right? So I have pepper spray. I've got what is that thing that you go and I go, I've never used it. What is that called? A teaser? A taser. Yes, I have a taser. I got pepper spray on there. I have very important, if you say, for example, you're driving in a car and you go off a bridge and you end up in water, I have a seatbelt cutter. I mean, there's like 10 different things. So I would say a do is to load yourself with weaponry that's legal, not illegal stuff. So what would be a do and a don't for you? That
was one I was going to say, that, make sure you have some type of protection for the do. And then, obviously don't do something that would be, out of character for you. If it doesn't feel right, you go off of your gut feeling. If it doesn't feel right, then don't do it. I mean, that's the best advice that I can say. I mean, always follow your gut.
Yeah.
If something is not right or it doesn't feel right, then stay away from it.
Right. And instinct, you're a human. You've got a fight or flight response. Most people do. This comes from Tina from Bethel. Not another Bethel. No, Bethel. Oh, she just put Bethel. I don't know what state. Okay. She said, hey, Crystal, what are the steps that I need to take? Oh, I wonder if this is present. What are the steps that I need to take to start a sexual harassment lawsuit?
Well, I need more. Is it at work?
That's all. Yeah, that's all she said.
Okay. Well, she can file, if she's at work, tell her she can file an EEOC complaint. To contact the EEOC if she's in Pennsylvania. I believe that's federal, though. So
it says Bethel. I don't know where that could be. It might be Pennsylvania since you were.
There's a Bethel Park in Pennsylvania. I don't know if that's where she's.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you cut. Well, if I see, we don't know if it's at work, because if you're at work, you go to the human resources. So I would say if you're at work, go to human resources and file the complaint. But sometimes people are scared to do that, Crystal.
She wants to do a lawsuit, she's going to have to file EEOC, is what I was always instructed.
What's an EEOC?
Equal Opportunity. They're the federal agency that gets, you have to start there. If you want a federal lawsuit against your employer, you have to start there. And then they investigate it, and then they decide whether you have grounds to file a lawsuit. Then once you get the letter from them, then you can take that letter to your attorney, and then you guys can file the lawsuit. That's how I was taught and told to do. That's how we did it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you have to go through the steps. You can't just file it without going through them. I mean,
yeah. And I guess if you're at work, you should go to human resources. I guess that's still a thing, right?
Yeah, you need to go the chain of command first. Obviously, You always start the chain of command, and then if they don't do anything, then that's when you pursue legal action. You go talk to an attorney. First thing, if you don't get satisfaction at your employer, go to an attorney. Go seek legal advice. That's where you want to go to them immediately. If you don't get satisfaction or it doesn't get resolved at your place of employment. But the EEOC also will provide legal advice, legal representation for free.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't have money to have an attorney.
Yeah, so they can go straight to EEOC as well.
EEOC. Okay.
EEOC.
Got it.
I'll send you the link.
Send me the link.
If it reaches out to you, you can ship it to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. This is from Lisa, and she said, hey, Crystal, if you're in a sexual relationship with a person, which I am now, and I feel like I want to file a sexual harassment lawsuit against that person, which I don't understand. Okay. Because he turned a romantic relationship into a form of abuse. Call me for more details. How do you prove if it's not revenge on your part? Because he's telling everyone that it's because he broke up with me.
I can't even answer that, because that's not, I've never heard of anybody filing a lawsuit when they're in a relationship. I mean, if she feels like she's being threatened, then she can maybe try to seek a PFA, protection from abuse order. But she's going to have to talk to an attorney. I can't answer that question.
Oh yeah, that sounds very complicated.
Answer that question, sorry. Go talk to.
I'm sorry too. I wish I had some
Yeah,
information
the answer to that.
to help you, but my answer for that is to just leave, get out, walk away, because it sounds like it could end up in a very dangerous.
Definitely leave. If she feels threatened and not safe, get out.
Yeah, and I mean, this guy, he's going around saying it's revenge, and a lot of guys do get away with that. Equal opportunity employment. Opportunity Commission. There you go. A lot of guys, I don't know if you've experienced that, but I have heard stories where girls are in relationships and then they break up with them, or the guy breaks up with them, and then there's a kerfuffle, and then the next thing you know, the guy is saying, "Oh, I never raped her. She's just saying that to get revenge because I broke up with her." That seems to be a go-to situation, which it's very, very hard to prove these things. It really is. So oh gosh, thank God I'm not young and hot anymore and have to worry about that. Jeez, sometimes I wish come on, why isn't someone trying to sexually abuse me? What happened to me? I want a little sexual abuse over here. Oh my God. Crystal, thank you so much for being on the show. Again, we got Crystal Starnes. She is an actress, a survivor, a founder for Voice for Victims, LLC. Oh my gosh, you want me to play that video? He created a video for you and I didn't. Okay. All right, just because you created it, we'll show the video and then we'll close it up. Please appease Albert by we'll show. Okay, let's show the video that Albert created for Crystal. Are you ready?
Everyone to the Crystal Starnes Show with your host and producer, Crystal Starnes. Today, I'm so excited to bring you two wonderful guests from Las Vegas. They are going to be talking about their careers and what they're doing, and also about a legend in the music career known as the Golden Boy of Song. So let's welcome Roy Hamilton Jr. and Maria Hamilton, who is the wife and manager of Roy Hamilton Jr. to the show. Welcome. So happy to be here and so happy to be able to finally meet you.
Pleasure to meet you finally, Crystal. Thank you for having us.
Today, welcome to Crystal Starnes.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Crystal Starnes is a passionate advocate for victims' rights and the founder of Voice for Victims, LLC. With a mission to spread awareness about victimization, Crystal stands up for what is right and educates the community on various topics to prevent individuals from becoming victims. Through her own journey of overcoming fear and suffering in silence, Crystal inspires others to find their voice and seek justice. Crystal is an advocate who understands victimization as she sued her abuser, demonstrating courage in disclosing official wrongdoing against a judge. Despite facing ostracism and vilification.
I can't hear you. I hear you now. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I was muted. He muted me. Okay. So I love the little video he created for you. Now, yes, thank you, Albert. That was fantastic. If you want to find out more and see more of her podcast, go to crystalstarnes.com. Also go to voiceforvictimspodcast.com, and you can get more of Crystal Starnes. More. Yes. So everybody is so proud of you, and I know you should be proud of yourself. And I want to thank you so much for coming on and making everybody aware that you can fight and you can win. Don't be afraid. Even if it's in your job, you can always get another job, but you can't always get your dignity back, right, Crystal?
Right.
Yeah. All right. So why don't you, we're going to say thank you, Mr. Alan Greenstein, Crystal's biggest fan. And what do you want to say as your parting words to your fans?
Thank you for watching, and thank you for all your support. I'm trying to spread awareness. I want to help all of you. I mean, that's my mission in life. Till the day I die, I want to help as many people as I can. So that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah, and oh, one thing I didn't cover. Do you offer resources on your Voice for Victims podcast? Do you offer like resources, like if you're in a dangerous situation, you can go here, or is it all just job related?
Yeah, I need to update my website. I had a website person for a while, and I don't have him anymore. So I do need to look at my website and update it. So it isn't like it needs updated. I'm glad that you brought this up, because I didn't realize some of the stuff that was on it, because I was paying somebody over the past couple of years to do my website. So I need to look at it and, adjust some of the stuff on there. Yes. But the resources, I've had several people reach out to me over the years, and, they may have a situation. They message me through the website, or they message me on Facebook, and I will try to lead them to the right direction, give them resources that way. That's what I've been doing this entire time. Just privately, I've been doing that, and I've been doing it for free. I just helping as many as I can. If I will try to lead you with all the knowledge that I have. If I can't lead you, I'll lead you to somebody that can help you. I mean, that's basically what I do,
That's great. I love it. Yes, because I would imagine that she's going to have on her podcast, if she has a particular subject, that she's going to follow that up with resource information about that particular, if it's sexual harassment, some resource information for that. If it's harassment in the workplace, I imagine she's going to have resource information about that. So go to voiceforvictimspodcast.com and listen to one of her wonderful podcasts and get information to help you or someone you love. Thank you, Mr. I'm calling you Mr. You're such a boss command presence. Miss Crystal Starnes, thank you for coming on this show. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona.